Hi, folks. We're back. It is day 7 of the James W. Weiner Wellness Week, the Memorial Wellness Week for the icon James Weiner. We're here at the World of Wellness. It's Saturday. It's hot. We broke out the summer clothes,
Yes,
right? And
finally.
it's beautiful. The sun's out. What a day we got planned for everybody today. I'm here with the GOAT, Mike Gallagher, and it's going to be just the two of us this morning. We gave Jamie a little break, and I think he's getting worked over by Dr. Ross. But we got a great lineup today. I mean, really all-star lineup, right, Mike? I
Yep.
mean, we're going to talk about
Especially at
some.
11.
Yeah, we got a lot of things going today. Who's at 11? Oh, yeah,
Oh,
the GOAT.
that's
Yeah.
right. That's
No,
right.
okay. So you know what? Today we're going to bring Tracy Strout back. She's going to be here, and we've got Mike, of course. We've got some roundtable going on, and then at 1 o'clock we've got the Hall of Fame,
The legend.
the man.
He's the real GOAT.
Yep,
He is the real
he's the
GOAT.
real GOAT. Franco Harris will be here,
Yep.
and we'll be talking about his great line of silver antibacterial towels and sportwear that we're going to have, that we already have right here at the World of Wellness. So great stuff. So to kick it off this morning, guys, how about all week long? And it's I was just saying to Mike, so unusual that he didn't do a presentation on DMG this time, but we were so jam packed. That's okay. We're going to do it now.
Yeah,
Let's do it
absolutely.
now. We don't need any prep for DMG.
We
right?
talk about it in a lot of our formulas, right?
That's right.
And we've talked about it at many previous workshops we've done on it. It's one of my favorite, if not the favorite supplement of all time. There's things about DMG that we can say about it that we can't say about any other supplement.
right.
Right?
That's right.
It's very unique. It's part of our natural methylation process, right? How our body's ability to absorb nutrients. So it's critical. Most people are extremely deficient in it, and we use it in a lot of our formulas. But by itself, it's great for pain,
great.
brain, cancer, right, and inflammation,
All of the
immune,
above.
everything, right?
So it's and I think people need to know, and they probably don't realize there are a lot of nutrients that are endogenous. That means your body actually makes them in small amounts. And DMG is one of those. I think that's one of the reasons why it adapts so well in your body. And in fact, it is an adaptogen, especially for the immune system, right?
That's right.
It goes where you need it to go. If you need macrophage production, if you need killer cell production, if you need natural interferon, if you need antibodies, that's where it's going to go. It's going to go where it's needed. And why do we put it in so many combination formulas?
Well, again, just what I was referring to, that methylation aspect. And again, folks, this is a very complex, but very simply, it's at the beginning of the methylation process is DMG, and it goes through 42 different conversions. And at the end is glutathione, your master
There you
antioxidant,
go.
right?
Yeah.
And everybody, I don't care who you are, the healthiest person on the planet, one of those 42 is out of balance a little bit.
That's right.
And the unique thing about this is it rebalances everything. Every one of these, and this is happening in a trillionth of a second in every cell in our body, over a trillion cells in our body. So just think about that, just amazing process that's going on.
Right.
And so DMG, whether you're high or low, it rebalances on all these different aspects of it. And then the other unique thing too, Joe, I mean, many different things, it increases oxygen into the cells.
Yes.
It is one
There
of
it
the
is.
only supplements orally that we can take that increases oxygen.
Exactly.
So,
Excuse me one second.
yeah,
Take it off, Mike.
absolutely. So, as we are going into this, why is that critical? Because, folks, bacteria, viruses, parasites, including spirochetes. So, again, part of our Lyme's protocol that we've had incredible success with, as well as even cancer, folks, right? And so they all help with DMG, right? Because all these things cannot survive in an oxygen-rich environment. So that is one of the most amazing things that DMG, and this is actually not a new supplement. It's actually been around for over 25 years. We've had it's one of our original formulas in Nutritional Frontiers, which we're celebrating our 14th year now. So again, a lot of different benefits regarding this. Some other benefits just to throw out there regarding it: helps with physical and mental performance. I work with some accounts who do marathons and long bike runs, and they notice that whenever they take the DMG, it also helps on that aspect of it. It also helps as far as again, strengthening the immune system, right? And how often is that in the news these days? We know has been for the last several years, especially, but it increases antibodies, lymphocytes, cytokine production. It helps detoxification. Again, critical component in the liver as well as throughout the rest of the body. It helps with circulation and vascular health. It helps with blood sugar and fat metabolism. It helps with all cardiovascular benefits, including blood pressure, cholesterol, triglycerides, and homocysteine levels. So sometimes we get asked that question, what do you have for homocysteine? DMG, along with our Super B Complete, great formulas to help with that. It helps with that the mental component of energy, and it reduces lactic acid. Again, so going back to the physical benefits and performance, and that's why we use it in our Power Fuel. We use it in our Super Creatine. Again, we use it in our Pro Oranges and all of our fruit and veggies. I think we're up to like 35 different formulas now that we have it in there. The mental alertness, the brain function. So, folks,
Did you mention my favorite?
Which one?
The CoQ10.
Not yet.
Not yet.
No.
That's my favorite. Well, that one has 300 milligrams of DMG and 300 milligrams of CoQ10. One delicious chewable tablet. The best way to go. You get the best of both. And when you do, like Mike said, all these formulas we have DMG in, and its ability to increase oxygen utilization, that helps the uptake of all the other nutrients you combine it with into the cells. So the assimilation, we talk about that a lot, right? It's not what you eat, it's what you absorb, what you assimilate into the cells. And by adding DMG, it increases that assimilation.
That's right. So that formula we've had great success with just from people who are taking CoQ10. So again, people on medications like cholesterol medications like statins, like blood pressure medications deplete CoQ10, blood sugar medication depletes CoQ10, and anxiety and antidepressants deplete CoQ10.
Right.
So anything has to do with the heart of the brain depletes CoQ10, which is critical, another key nutrient in our what we call Krebs cycle function, ATP, mitochondria, where energy is formed. So a lot of people are really having the energy issues or lack thereof, right? Very tired, fatigued. And that formula right there, enter CoQ10, you get the triple strength CoQ10 and you get the DMG at high doses, right? Just one a day. Usually people see a great result within just days.
Yeah, just one a day. And then when you take it to the next level, like in Parkinson's patients, I mean, let's talk about, let's bring in your first case study that we used. That was a central part of it.
Yeah. So how this, again, this how organically some of these things happen is that there is published studies with high dosing of CoQ10. At 1,200 milligrams, there's 2 studies that can help slow down the progression of Parkinson's by over 40%. Okay, if we catch it stage 1, the early stages, right? That's critical. Now, just doing what I do, traveling throughout the area and working with all different types of practitioners. One of them told me that had just come back from a seminar, and the doctor who spoke said at even higher dosing, 2,400 milligrams, it can actually potentially reverse Parkinson's.
I'm not making any claims, but
not making any claims.
This is what a doctor
reported back to us that he had seen clinical results with this. Now, that normally is really difficult to take that just by itself. But in this chewable, when you combine it with the DMG, you're able to assimilate. That's what's really unique. So, folks, that would be 8 a day, 4 in the morning, 4 at noon. So
they're not pills; they're chewables.
Chewables. So I actually had a few accounts that had Parkinson's cases, and I passed on this information to them, and they reported back to me that they were getting fantastic results within a week. Within one bottle, they were seeing results.
Yeah.
And so we tried to get a testimonial. We tried to get a video, but they were very shy. They didn't want to make this public.
Sure.
But the third case of this was another practitioner who I was sharing this story with, and he said, you know, I have a 60-year-old Parkinson's case right now that would be great to actually film this process.
Early stage,
right?
Okay.
And he actually had like 6 years into it,
Mhm.
right? And he was on medication,
course.
didn't like the way it made him feel, having trouble sleeping.
Mhm.
And so luckily he was actually able to film this, the before
Yes.
part.
Yeah.
So a lot of times with these testimonials, you always see the after part.
Right.
But he actually filmed the beginning before he even tried
Mhm.
this CoQ10. But within 7 days, I mean, this person was having trouble walking. He was having trouble even standing still on one leg.
Yes.
Balance
And
issues.
I saw this video. This is incredible.
Yeah. And so just did some basic exercises, and you could see the challenges that he had. Within 7 days, he's walking better. Within 13 days, he's able to stand on one leg. And within one bottle, he was actually within 16 days. 16 days, he's riding a bicycle. First time in 8 years that he rode a bicycle, folks, right? And so he continued with this. We continue to track him 60 days later. He's still doing fantastic. He was then able to reduce the dosage after 3 months. So this is a short-term temporary loading dose.
Right.
And then he reduced it down to 4 a day after 3 months. He did that for a couple months. Then he's down to 2 a day. And folks, this was 4 years ago. I still follow up on this case. He's still doing incredible. There's no regression. His neurologist can't believe it. His physical therapist can't believe it. The people at his church
So there's
can't
no
believe
regression.
it. No
There's
regression.
No advancement either.
No,
right?
no.
Nothing.
He actually is tremendously improved, and he hasn't regressed 4 years later. So again, not making any claims, but this, if you know anybody with Parkinson's or Parkinson's-like issues or symptoms, give this a chance. Enter CoQ10.
Yes. Now, what else was in the protocol?
So he also did fish oil,
Right.
omega-3 fish oil.
Right.
He was doing 4 a day of those.
Okay.
And he did CBD.
Right.
All right, our hemp extract oil, because he was having trouble sleeping.
Mhm.
Right, so that's really where he was using it with.
Okay.
But it dramatically helped with them. So that was the total protocol. But I would tell
three formulas.
Three formulas dramatically changed his life forever.
Yeah.
And that's what it's all about, Joe.
Yeah, that's what it's all about.
That is what
you
it's
know,
all
and
about.
that is the case that I've always talked about was my aunt, Mary Pat.
Who has spoken here before?
She has spoken here, Mary
Yep.
Pat Valentino, and you know, a few months back, well, in her case, actually, you know, she was diagnosed about 20 years ago, and you know, about 15 to 18 years ago, I don't remember the exact date, but we put her on the 1,200 milligrams at that time, and at that time, we only had the CoQ10, we didn't have the combo of the DMG, but we put her on 1,200 milligrams chewables, and the 4 to 6 grams of omega-3, and of course some other things, D3. We didn't have the CBD at that time either, but she showed, you know, not just, you know, there was no advancement, and she was such an early stage that really the regression wasn't really needed, but she didn't progress. In fact, when you know, Parkinson's patients, when they go see their physician, they on a regular basis, they do the circle test. You know, they give them a pencil and tell them to draw a circle. And hers got better over the time using the protocol. Now, this protocol, I got to give credit where credit's due. Dr. David Perlmutter out of Florida, he was the originator of this protocol. He still speaks on it. And so then when the combination of CoQ10 and DMG came out, we put her on that. She's been on it ever since. High levels of D3 also, and she's on CBD, of course, too. But she still takes her meds. They all do, right? But she's not progressing. Now, we're looking at 20 years later. Here's the big part. We went a few months back to a women's support group for Parkinson's patients and spoke. I was the speaker, but she was with me. So I said, I want to introduce you to my Aunt Mary Pat. And I said, we said she's a Parkinson's patient. Well, they thought, oh, are you? Because all of the women in the group are like 1 year, 2 year, 4 years. I said, oh, you're like us. No, I got diagnosed 20 years ago. Their jaws dropped. They couldn't believe it. Now, what that accomplished, Mike, when we told them all this, was we gave them hope.
Mm-hmm.
We
Yes.
gave them hope.
Yes. And
because they heard none of this from their doctors.
None. And I have seen her live here. I've witnessed it. She is real, folks. And again, she looked incredible.
Mm-hmm.
And that was a couple years ago. But again, I've seen the results.
Great.
And I have spoken as well
Mm-hmm.
at there was a conference here in Pittsburgh
Yeah.
a couple years ago regarding Parkinson's. And I spoke and I did share this story,
Yeah.
with everybody in the audience. And then, like I said, nothing works for everybody.
No.
We would know in one bottle if it does. We would give it a chance,
Mm-hmm.
but you have nothing to lose. That's
right.
why I tell everybody, it's not going to hurt you. It's not going to interfere with the medication.
Mm-hmm.
And again, it's only can help. And so anybody in that serious situation like that, give it a
that's
chance.
The first two things they ask. Is there any detriment? And it will interfere with my medication?
Yeah, right.
No, it will not interfere.
That's
it
right.
will help. It'll make it better.
Yeah. Just take it an hour apart from
Yeah.
the medication. The medication does its job. We do our job.
Right.
I always say, do they ask the same questions to the doctor
Yeah,
about the medications?
Do they? That's a good question.
Will the drug hurt my vitamins? I never hear anybody say that.
No.
But they should.
They should,
right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's
food and food supplements do not interfere with medications. Medications interfere with food and diet and supplements and vitamins. So let's put that to rest.
That's right.
All right.
Definitely.
So DMG, a central part of that as well, right, Mike? And
that's
now
right.
There's been other case studies with DMG and kids, right? Dogs. I mean, it's just all over the board, and that's where it first started was animals.
That's right. That's right. Goes back to the 70s.
Yeah.
With horses.
That's right.
And it's really interesting, in the supplement industry, the animal supplements are more restrictive than the humans, right?
Yeah.
Now, again, that bridge is closing, but originally back in the 70s.
Yes.
Very strict. Again, if you're seeing results on the animals, for sure, there's no bias.
No placebo
effect. You always hear that. Oh, it must be placebo.
Yeah.
Really? On an animal?
Nope.
And so there's great research on it for seizures, right? There's great, we've had incredible results with that.
Yes.
There's also great research on autism or anybody on the spectrum.
Yes.
Goes back to the 70s on autism. Hundreds of studies on DMG, folks, for that.
Mm-hmm.
Again, and then we try to take it. We have it by itself. Now we have the liquid that we recommend for animals.
Correct.
As well as infants and babies.
Yes.
And I remember the issue with Dr. Tracy.
Yeah, tell that one. That's a great one.
Yeah, so she had a case. She was working with a 2-year-old, I believe, had like inner ear infections, chronic, nothing.
Crying constantly.
Chronic ear problems.
Yeah.
And they tried a lot of different things. Medications weren't working. Supplements weren't working. She reached out to me and said, what do you think? And I said, let's go with the liquid DMG. Let's do 1 dropper full, 1 milliliter. And she's like, are you sure? And I'm like, yes, it's completely safe. Nothing to worry about.
Nothing.
Right? Like I tell everybody, trust me, give it a chance. And within a day or two, the baby's 100%. Right? And she was like, wow, this is incredible.
Can you imagine the parents?
They were ecstatic.
Of course.
Right?
Yes.
They're ecstatic. And again, I know she says that all the time in presentations and so forth about DMG, but that's the power. Something like this can really, really help. So it doesn't matter what age you are, doesn't matter from 1-year-old to 100.
Any
DMG.
Yes.
Right. So this is one of my top.
You know the old saying, cradle to grave.
Cradle to grave.
Well, I think I've modified that to womb to tomb.
I like that. I like that. Put
Take
that
it.
on.
Yeah. Now, Dr. Ross here has had patients he's working with on the spectrum, added DMG to it, and within a week, difference.
Right.
Jeff has a patient, Jeff Nisnick, was having grand mal seizures. Hasn't had one in a year.
Yeah.
DMG.
In fact, that reminds me of another case, Joe. Now, the research again goes on back to in 1986 on DMG, New England Journal of Medicine, right? So one of the most prestigious medical journals out there. All medical doctors refer to it, but they had a study that on seizures, that the group there that was in this study was averaging over 13 seizures a day, okay, or in a week's period of time, 13 a week, okay. And with DMG, it went from 13 down to 1, right?
Wow.
13 down to 1. And so check this out. I showed one of my other practitioners this study, and he had a patient who was averaging, a female, 80 seizures a month, 80. All right. So I showed him this. I said, give this a chance, try it. He did recommended 2 DMG of their chewables, one in the morning, one at noon.
Okay. And they're 500 milligrams
500
each.
milligrams each, right? Tastes like a cherry sweet tart, tastes great. And the person went from 80 to 0 in 1 month. I'm telling you, incredible.
Yeah.
Right? So I personally can attest for this. There's the research to back it up. So anybody with seizure issues like that, it's worth it. Again, 1 bottle, we'll know.
So, I mean, and I wonder, somebody needs to do a really detailed case study or on this clinical study, because we need to be able to tell everybody the exact mechanism of action here that did this. Now, we know it has to do with the brain. We know it has to do with methylation. We know it has to do with all kinds of things. But remember, DMG is endogenous. It's in your body. You make it, so it can never be. Oh, what about the LD50 on this, right? The LD50 is a dosage that would be considered lethal in 50% of, like, a rat. If you had rats and you gave them high dosage of a nutrient or a drug or whatever, the LD50 means 50% of them would have an adverse or death reaction. The LD50, they did 5,000 doses, not milligrams,
right?
Doses, and it was nothing. No adverse effect.
Right.
Period.
Right. So I always get, sometimes I get asked that question, if I take too much, what will happen, right?
Yeah.
And again, it's physically and financially impossible
with
DMG. And the other
That's
thing,
a good point.
But people can die drinking water.
Yes.
And it's happened.
That's right.
Right. So when people say, I'm afraid to take this higher dose and there's fear.
Yeah.
I don't know how that's been perpetuated here in the supplement world, but again, completely safe. Even at these higher levels.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, we had a woman, one of our physicians, call in to it was one of Fred's accounts at Nutritional Frontiers, but they called in. They said that one of their patients, one of their kids, I think a 5 or 6-year-old kid, got a sleeve of the chewables, thought they were candy, took them all.
Yeah,
ate them all.
Yeah.
Okay, and they said, "Is there anything I said, "No, he's going to be pretty energetic for a while."
That's right.
But other than that, don't worry. There is no adverse effect.
Yes. So occasionally that's happened. I got one the other day too. So maybe it's the same person we're talking about, thinking about. But it is safe. No issues, folks, on this. Again, so let's just talk about the dosage a second ago, right?
Yeah.
So if you don't have any health issues, if you are prevention, I just recommend 1 a day.
Yeah.
1 a day, 1 in the morning.
So 1 500 milligram chewable or 1 dropper of the liquid.
Yes. And again, I prefer the chewable because it's almost twice as strong. And again, it's around 4 times on adult dose of people over 100 pounds and so forth, right? And I have been taking 1 a day since I learned about this 13 years ago, right? Every day, right? So
wait a second. Now, Mike is the resident expert on DMG. But Mike, who'd you learn about it from?
I learned it from this guy right here, right? So again, he is the original GOAT, Joe Messino, right? And so again, if it wasn't for Joe bringing this to our attention, making us aware of it, and I've been in the industry for years and years, and I never heard of DMG.
Yeah,
right. Most people never heard of DMG,
right?
But once they hear about it and see what it does and all the amazing things it can do, and folks, again, I recommend this to every single person as basic foundational health. because, and if you take anything else, whether it's a vitamin, a probiotic, you name it, and a mineral, it will help it absorb.
That's right.
Right? It's only going to enhance it. Right?
That's right.
Okay.
Do no harm.
That's right. And now, if you have pain, brain, heart, any of those inflammatory issues, I recommend 2 a day. 1 in the morning, 1 at noon.
Okay.
That's where the research shows. All right.
So 1,000 milligrams.
That's right.
Okay.
And folks, there was a U.S. patent on this for cancer. Okay. And again, the patent runs out. They're typically only good for 20 years.
Right.
But there is research on this for cancer. Again, not making any claims, but it has shrunk tumors in embryos, chicken embryo studies. And we have the documentation on this as well. And folks, again, this is one piece, not the only thing, but a really important piece.
Right.
But there is a U.S. patent to treat melanoma, skin cancer.
That's right.
It's the only supplement I've ever studied in 28 years that had a U.S. patent to treat cancer, right? So even just saying that is like, you got it, people always like cautious and scared, right?
But it's on the books.
It's on the books. It's on the books, folks. Now, cancer, I recommend a minimum 3 a day.
Yes.
Right.
So I'd say 1,500 to 2,000 milligrams.
Right.
A day. Yeah.
So minimum 3 a day, and that third one no later than 3 p.m. Because, folks, we call this DMG because it will give you energy, right? So no later than 3 p.m., but that gets you that therapeutic clinical dose that the research does support to help with cancer.
Right.
Right. And we've seen some incredible results with this, right?
Right.
So 1, 2, or 3 a day is as simple as
now.
Your
didn't
situation.
You also have a doc that had a success with a dog and tumors as well?
I've had several cases.
Okay.
I've had cases where they had tumors on their tail or in the body, right? And they used the DMG.
So with them, they used the liquid.
They used the liquid,
right?
Topically applied it.
Really?
Along with the CBD. Also topically applied it. So they did DMG in the morning, the liquid, and they did our unflavored CBD at night. And again, the tumors shrunk, the tumors disappeared.
So no oral at all?
Yes.
Oh, they did oral too.
Oral too. They did rubbed it topically, and then they did half
oral.
They did a half of the dropper of both because they were small dogs. But again, I've seen this with myself, folks. I wish everybody just rode along with me every day and just witness all these amazing, incredible cases that I hear. I hear something miraculous almost every day.
Yes.
It's the beautiful thing about this. And again, we try to share that here at the clinic here and pass that knowledge on to you, right? Everybody listening, it may be this doesn't affect them, but maybe someone in their family, their friend, their neighbor that has these issues. So that's all we can do is share this knowledge.
And we want to share it. We want everybody to know about it. We're not trying to hide it to make sure like we're the only ones that have it.
Right.
No, we want to help the world. And you know what? The book that is the Bible on DMG, Building Wellness with DMG, written by Dr. Roger Kendall, who we have worked with extensively on this. And he is the father of DMG in this country.
That's right. We have this fantastic book. I've read it numerous times. I highlight it for doctors, and there's hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of published studies on DMG. So in the back of the index, they separate, whatever your condition is, right? Or I always joke with the doctor when they're meeting them for a first time about DMG, and I said, they said, is there research on this? And I always go right to the back of the book. And I said, Doc, do you want that alphabetical order or top 100, right? And then they start cracking up laughing. But it's one of the most studied supplements of all time. Right? So again, even the toughest critic with vitamins and supplements, who wants to see the research, there is on DMG, unlike hardly anything else out there.
There is a whole page on dosing.
That's right.
Condition on that.
And animal dosing as well. There's a whole chapter on animals. So for people who have the pets and have any issues, it tells you where the research is showing where we need to be
Absolutely.
at. So again, unlike anything else. So that's why we call DMG does me good.
Does me good, or darn mighty good.
Darn mighty good, right?
Yeah.
But DMG does me good.
It does.
So if you've never tried it, folks, I really suggest it. What I always hear usually with doctors when they try it themselves personally, because a lot of them try it before they recommend it.
Sure.
They usually I always hear like kind of sometimes it clears out the cobwebs.
Mental focus.
Mental focus
Yes.
is what they usually, and the energy, right? And that's what you usually notice. And then you keep taking it. It's going to help with all these other benefits.
And then, you know, that's probably directly connected to the neurological benefits that we see with the kids.
That's right.
That mental focus that adults get if they're not having issues, if they're not having attention deficit disorder, or if they're not autistic, or they're not having seizures. Well, it still works on a mental clarity basis. So
that's right.
When you do have an issue, it's going to affect that in a positive way.
That's
not
right.
curing anything, but it is going to positively affect the lives of these people and their families.
That's right.
We just can't say enough about DMG.
Yeah, and I always tell when I'm working with someone new accountant, new doctor, I always, you know, to know us, Nutrition Frontiers, is to know DMG,
right?
Because once you understand all the amazing, incredible benefits of DMG, then when we talk about some of our other formulas that have it in there, whether it's our Immunomax, whether it's our Neuromax,
right,
that takes the DMG even further, whether AirMax this time of year for allergies, right, our sports performance drinks, our fruit and color veggies,
fuel. I mean,
right, it goes on and on and on.
Cardio, you name it,
right,
goes on and on.
And so we call it always our ancient Chinese secret, right? It's our secret sauce.
It's the secret sauce
that we don't see this in any other professional company out there. No other supplement company, let alone professional company. No one uses DMG like we do because we get faster, quicker results, right?
Yeah,
that's the point, folks. The synergy of DMG and all these other proven nutrients that works takes it to a whole nother
Mike,
level.
during this 2.5-year flu that we've been involved in, and that's Dr. Orbach coined that phrase, and I loved it and I stole it. But during this 2.5-year flu, when it first started, I was still doing the Winery Wellness radio show. And every single show I did, I said, make sure you're doing the 3 Ds. And that was D3, DMG, and diaphragmatic breathing. Why? Oxygen deprivation. Everybody was suffering from oxygen deprivation. Those 3 things would be the deal breaker, and that would change your life and improve your quality of life. D3, DMG. You know, it's funny. We never put those 2 together in one supplement, have we?
No.
But
we talk about doing the alphabets.
Yeah, right. Alphabet soup. Let's go right into that.
That's right.
All right. So Dr. Tracy Straup, who will be here today at 10 o'clock, well, virtually. But anyway, she came up with a protocol for the 2.5-year flu or for the shots that some people are getting for this. And because both are causing extreme inflammation in the body, and this immune overload, right? She came up with a protocol and she called it alphabet soup. And it involves DMG, of course. Number 2 was what, Mike? SPM. And then number 3 was CBD. And thanks to Dr. Judy Mikovits, who will be here in Pittsburgh in August, she said that don't underestimate the of cannabinoids on this thing that we're battling. So that's the basis to the alphabet soup. Let's go into SPM now.
Yeah, so SPM.
We only have about 8 minutes, 7-8 minutes left.
Well, I could talk for 7 hours.
I know. Well, we did on DMG.
So SPM is one of the newest discoveries, one of the most exciting discoveries out there in the nutritional world. What researchers have found, it is part of our natural healing process. During any type of inflammatory aspect, whether it's acute, whether it's chronic, any type of stress on our body, we produce these SPMs, okay? Mm-hmm. The problem is that older we get or the heavier we get, and let's face it, a lot of people put on a lot of pounds here, being working at home and so forth, a lack of activity, but it suppresses SPMs, okay? And SPMs are even when mother's milk, when new babies are made, right? The mother makes abundant additional amounts of SPMs in the mother's milk.
That's right.
Right, which then gets passed on to the baby. It should, which is why you should always breastfeed. All right. So just another added benefit. So this is completely safe for pregnant women,
Yes.
completely safe for nursing women. But any type of inflammatory issue is where these SPMs but from a supplement standpoint, we have to extract it from omega-3 fish oil.
That's correct.
Okay.
Right.
But it's a 3-step process, very, very technical, and it's super advanced process here. So basically, the breakdown of it, you have omega-3s.
Mm-hmm.
And then we need specific nutrients and enzymes that breaks it down into pre-resolving mediators.
Right.
And then we need to break it down even further into these pro-resolving mediators. So these SPMs stand for specialized pro-resolving mediators.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So someone looks at this and they're like, oh, I'll just take more fish oil. And I'm like, no. It's physically impossible to consume the amount of fish oil that you need in order to get the health benefits of these SPMs. So everything that I was taught for the benefits of fish oil in the last 28 years, pain, brain, heart, eyes, skin, hair, hormone, immune, and oh, by the way, 500 other things.
Yeah.
It wasn't necessarily the fish oil. It was these SPMs.
Yeah.
And we just didn't know about it at the time.
Right.
So if you have these inflammatory issues, folks, and let's face it, a lot of people do, right? Then we are getting some incredible
results.
clinical case studies on this. My first experiences, in fact, things I've never seen in 28 years that I'm seeing. So I thought I saw a lot with DMG, and I thought I saw a lot with CBD, and I have. It's helped a lot of people, but nothing that I've ever seen is like these SPMs. So my first case with this was a clinic, large clinic like this one. They had a staff member. She was in an auto accident over 20 years ago. Okay. And she's been in pain ever since. And they've tried everything chiropractically. She's tried even stem cells. She's tried bioidentical. She tried laser. She tried every supplement under the sun. Nothing has worked. She's always been in pain. So they said, will this help her? And I said, like I said, everybody, I don't know, but it won't hurt.
It won't.
All we could do is try, right? So she took 4 days, Joe. Okay, 2 breakfast, 2 dinner.
Mm-hmm.
And in 4 days, she's 50% better. 50%. 20 years.
Yeah. After 20 years.
4 days. By 30 days, 100% better.
Oh,
right?
Yeah.
They couldn't believe this. They could never see anything like this. And so since that time, they are absolutely prescribing this left and right.
Yeah.
They're getting some incredible cases just like this, right? I've had cases, Joe. Again, this other case was a chiropractor I worked with. He had a patient who he called a train wreck, right? He calls him $6 million man. So manual labor, 52 years old, neck surgery, back surgery, hip surgery, knee surgery, right? He tried a lot of different supplements. Chiropractically wasn't helping. He did 4 days of the SPM, Joe. And in 2 days, 100% better. This chiropractor's been practicing over 20 years. He's never seen anything like this. And this is what we are hearing day in, day out with the SPM.
Absolutely.
Right.
And it's right in the name. It resolves that connection or that breakdown from acute inflammation to systemic inflammation, which these people are suffering from. Systemic inflammation.
And again, it's part of our natural healing process.
That's right.
It's endogenous, like you said.
That's right.
We all have it. Every mammal has this, right? So it's not something foreign,
right?
Right? Nothing, no side effects, only benefits. So really the dosage is what we're finding is the tricky part with this.
That's the tricky part.
So, so really depends on how severe pain or inflamed you are.
Right.
So we would recommend if you are on a scale 1 to 10, if you're 5 or higher right now, or for people with knee pain when they're walking or up or down the steps, they have a different pain threshold. Right. So the other day when that gentleman, you were asking, we were talking to him, how much pain are you in? Oh, 3 or 4. Well, how much when you're walking up or down the steps? Oh, down the steps, it's a 7.
Yeah.
So we always go with the highest number.
Right.
So we would recommend 6 a day is where we're getting the best clinical results with the SPM.
Correct.
So let's break that up: two and two, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, or 3 and 3,
3 and 3.
right? Or if it's more chronic pain, if it's 4 or less, achy knees, achy, arm, or whatever the case, right? Then we would go 4, right? So 4 to 6, we'll know in one bottle. One bottle, folks. It works that quickly.
That's right.
If it works and you're feeling better, then we back it down to 2 a day.
Right.
So we start high aggressive, and then we back it down.
You got to kickstart. You got to jumpstart the mechanism of
right.
action.
Supercharge
Right.
that healing process. Right. Nothing to be afraid of.
Nope.
No issues at all. And again, I just mentioned 2. I have 200.
Yeah,
of these,
I know.
Right?
I know.
It's incredible, folks. I'm begging you to try the SPM, one bottle.
SPM. Here's it's the alphabet soup. We didn't even get into CBD, but just listen. I mean, all you need to know about CBD is this: your body has a system. It's called the endocannabinoid system. It needs a nutrient, cannabinoids, to feed that system, and that system touches every other system in your body. And we've been deprived of this nutrient, the food for that system, for generations, not years, not decades, generations, since 1937. There's your alphabet soup, folks. DMG, SPM, CBD. It will change your life.
Yeah.
Well, if you want some more, you're going to have to talk to Mike, because he's got, case studies from his doctors that he's been working with over the years.
And here.
Incredible. And here at the World of Wellness. Like I said, we have Jeff, we have Dr. Ross and Dr. Orbach. And before that, Dr. Weiner, of course, himself, with just tens upon tens of not clinical studies, anecdotal, real life
case
studies, real life.
Right.
So that's it for today. Mike, thanks so much.
Thank you,
You
Joe.
are the GOAT, brother.
You are.
You're
you
the
are.
man. So we'll be back at 10. We'll be back. Dr. Tracy Straub up next. We'll see you then.
Live long and prosper.
Live long and prosper.
I can't do it.
You can't? Oh, no.
Live long and prosper.